contract skids across his floor in the breeze from the broken windows. The mayor's signature gleams at the bottom, still wet with ink. Marcus rolls up his sleeve, revealing the Navy SEAL trident tattooed on his forearm. His hand closes around a shell casing they carelessly left behind. They don't realize they just declared war on the wrong man. 5 years in Afghanistan, 3 in Yemen, intelligence specialist with combat tracker training. Marcus Freeman's service record flashes across his mind as he photographs the destruction. 2 weeks ago, he stood at his father's grave, returned to Oak Ridge to take over the family construction business. Just a heart attack, they said. Natural causes. Now this. The town has changed. Main Street, once vibrant with local shops, stands half empty. For sale signs compete with Save Oak Ridge posters, a battle line drawn through the heart of his childhood. Marcus walks past Simmons Hardware, where Old Man Simmons watches from behind dusty windows. The conversation stops when Marcus enters. Eyes follow him, some sympathetic, others calculating. Your daddy would have been proud, Simmons says, lowering his voice, standing up to Hayes and his casino plans. The mayor's face dominates the TV behind the counter. Robert Hayes announces his Community Prosperity Initiative with practiced sincerity. The smile doesn't reach his eyes as he talks about economic renewal. 14 properties left, Simmons whispers. Yours makes 15, the holdouts. Marcus nods, but his mind catalogs the security camera angles, exit routes, and the 2 men watching him from across the street. Ex-military by their stance. Private contractors, not local police. One touches his earpiece when Marcus looks their way. Outside, Marcus detours behind the pharmacy. He retrieves the spare key from his father's hiding spot and unlocks the office of Freeman Construction. Dust covers everything, the computer untouched. Files still in cabinets. His father's voice echoes in his last voicemail. Son, something's not right with this development deal. I need your help, your particular skills. Marcus checks for surveillance devices before powering up the computer. The password still works. His father's email remains open to a draft message addressed to the district attorney. Subject line, evidence of corruption and environmental violations. Dad's files might explain why he called Marcus home so urgently before his accident. Mayor Robert Hayes stands at Marcus's property line the next morning. Tailored suit, expensive watch. 2 men flank him, one in a developer's casual blazer, the other with the hard eyes of private security. Mr. Freeman, Jackson Willis, Oak Ridge Development. The developer extends his hand. Terrible what happened here. Vandals, I expect. Marcus shakes the offered hand, counting 4 calluses that don't match the man's manicured nails. Gun owner, probably right-handed. We have a proposition that might solve your problems. Mayor Hayes gestures toward the ruins. The town council has approved rezoning this entire area for commercial use. Freeman Construction sits on prime real estate for our new resort and casino complex. Willis slides a document from his leather portfolio. We're prepared to offer twice market value. Very generous under the circumstances. My father built this business from nothing, Marcus says. It's not for sale. The mayor's smile tightens. Your father understood progress, Marcus, before his unfortunate passing. Heart conditions run in families, Willis adds, eyes cold. Stress is a killer. Marcus studies the mayor's face. The subtle satisfaction there. The handshake lingers too long, Hayes's grip crushing. Buildings have accidents too, the security man speaks for the first time. Electrical issues, gas leaks, code violations that require immediate demolition. Is that a threat? Marcus keeps his voice level. Just stating facts, Hayes says. This town needs this development. 600 jobs, millions in tax revenue. We won't let a few stubborn property owners derail progress. They leave the contract on Marcus's partially collapsed porch. He waits until their black SUV disappears before examining his father's brake line again. The police report lists accident, but the clean, precise cut tells a different story. Later that day, Marcus visits the Wilsons. Elderly couple, 40 years in their home. Their windows are broken too. Their garden destroyed. "Fourth time this month," Mrs. Wilson whispers, hands trembling around her coffee cup. "Police say they can't help. No witnesses." "We're the last holdouts on this block," Mr. Wilson adds. 3 others caved last week after their cars were vandalized. Across town, Lucia Morales, single mother, owner of a small bakery, shows Marcus similar damage. "My insurance is threatening to cancel my policy. Without insurance, my business loan defaults. I can't fight much longer." Marcus nods, understanding the pattern. 3 other holdouts have had accidents in the past month alone. At the county records office, Marcus requests the environmental impact study for the casino project. The clerk looks nervous. "That's been classified by order of the town council," she says, eyes darting to a security camera. That night, Marcus breaks into his father's office again. This time, he finds the hidden compartment behind the filing cabinet. Inside, a thumb drive, soil sample vials, and photocopies of land surveys, different versions with contradicting data. One survey, stamped confidential, shows high levels of industrial contamination precisely where the casino foundation would be built. The other, the official version, shows the area completely clean. His father had been building a case, and someone killed him for it. Marcus opens his old footlocker. Inside, specialized equipment from his SEAL days, surveillance gear, tactical communications, the tools of his former trade. If Hayes wants war, Marcus will give him one, but on SEAL terms. Gather intelligence, identify weaknesses, strike only when victory is assured. He starts by photographing the distinctive boot prints left at his property. Military-grade tactical boots. Size 12. Unusual wear pattern on the right heel. Someone who favors their left side, possibly from an old injury. His phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. "My office, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Tomorrow. 2. Come alone. D.A. Alvarez." The district attorney. The same person his father tried to contact before dying. Marcus sleeps with his back to the wall that night, a trap rigged to the door, and his father's case files spread around him like battle plans. The police cruisers arrive at 6 a.m., lights flashing, no sirens. Chief Daniels leads 4 officers through Freeman Construction's front door with a search warrant in hand. "Anonymous tip," Daniels says, not meeting Marcus's eyes. "Claims you're storing illegal substances on the premises." Marcus stands perfectly still as they search, observing, memorizing faces, noting which officers seem uncomfortable with the operation. Officer Rodriguez finds the package in the supply closet, wrapped in plastic, half a kilo of cocaine that wasn't there last night. The handcuffs click shut, but Marcus smiles faintly. "Marcus Freeman, you're under arrest for possession with intent to distribute," Chief Daniels announces loud enough for the gathering crowd to hear. The perp walk is deliberate. Past news cameras, down Main Street where everyone can see. A message to the remaining holdouts. At the station, Marcus sits in the interview room counting exits, cataloging security cameras, observing shift changes. His SEAL training converts the police station into a tactical map in his mind. "We also found evidence linking Freeman Construction to building code violations throughout town," Chief Daniels tells the reporters gathered outside. "Falsified inspection documents, substandard materials. The investigation is ongoing." Marcus's cell neighbor is a thin man with nervous eyes, arrested for petty theft. "Hayes says to tell you he can make this all go away," the man whispers when the guards step away. "Sign over the property. Charges disappear. Marcus says nothing, but notes how quickly the mayor's name emerged. The corruption runs deep. 3 hours later, a woman in a tailored suit enters the station. Sharp eyes, confident stride. She presents her credentials to the desk sergeant, who suddenly looks worried. "I'm District Attorney Sofia Alvarez," she announces. "I'll see Mr. Freeman now." In the interview room, she sits across from Marcus, opens her briefcase, and turns on a white noise generator. "Your father contacted my office 3 days before his death," she says without preamble. "Claimed he had evidence of environmental fraud and corruption involving the casino project." "Why didn't you help him?" Marcus keeps his voice neutral. "I scheduled a meeting." Her eyes flash with regret. "He died the night before. Car accident. Very convenient timing." She slides a file across the table. "These charges against you are manufactured. The cocaine has no fingerprints. The building code violations date from before your father bought the company." Alvarez checks her phone repeatedly, glancing at the camera in the corner. "I don't trust this department," she whispers. "Hayes has half the force on his payroll, the other half too scared to speak up." "Why help me?" Marcus asks. "Because 3 suspicious deaths connected to property disputes in 6 months isn't coincidence." She slides her business card under his arrest report. "Don't say another word. I'll have you out by morning." Marcus memorizes the handwritten note on the back of her card. "Your father was right. Need proof to move against Hayes. Federal jurisdiction." Chief Daniels slams the cell door later that night, unaware Marcus now has exactly what he needs: time inside to observe their operations, shift schedules, and security vulnerabilities. From his cell, Marcus watches Officer Rodriguez make a call from the parking lot, looking nervous. The young officer returns, avoids eye contact with Daniels, and spends 30 minutes typing a report he immediately deletes. Someone inside the department has a conscience, a potential ally. By morning, Alvarez has secured his release on bail. "Insufficient evidence," she tells the furious Chief Daniels, "and questionable search warrant authorization." Outside the station, Hayes and Willis watch from their SUV across the street. Marcus meets their gaze directly, letting them see something new in his eyes. Not fear, not intimidation. A predator's patience. "Hayes owns this town," Alvarez says, driving Marcus to her office downtown. "Mayor for 15 years. His family founded Oak Ridge Mining Company a century ago." The district attorney's office sits above a bakery. No fancy courthouse. Just a modest suite with security cameras Marcus immediately identifies as higher quality than they appear. "I've been building a case for months," she continues, closing the blinds. "Hayes, Willis, their security chief Curtis Thompson, intimidation, fraud, suspected involvement in at least 3 deaths. Including my father," Marcus says. "I believe so." Alvarez slides the autopsy photos across her desk. "Your father noticed something. It got him killed." The brake line cut, clean, professional, not the work of random vandals. "Why haven't you moved against them?" Marcus asks. Hayes controls the police, the council, even the local judge. Frustration edges her voice. "I need federal-level evidence, environmental crimes, wire fraud, something that bypasses local jurisdiction." Marcus studies the woman across from him. Harvard law diploma on the wall, photos with senators, a fighter with principles but limited resources. "My father trusted you," he says finally. "He came with concerns about the land surveys. Suspected the environmental impact study was falsified." She opens a locked drawer. "The day after he died, someone broke in here. These were the only copies I had left. 2 soil analysis reports. Same date, different results. Just like the ones in his father's hidden files. The casino site was previously occupied by Hayes Chemical Storage, closed in the 90s. Alvarez points to contamination markers. Your father found evidence they never properly cleaned up the toxic waste, just covered it with topsoil. Building there would release everything into the groundwater, Marcus realizes. The entire town's water supply. Exactly. But proving Hayes knew about it requires more than just these reports. Marcus makes his decision. I have SEAL contacts who might help access satellite imagery, historical land surveys, maybe detect chemical signatures from orbit. Alvarez's eyebrows rise. That's not what I expected from a construction company owner. I specialized in intelligence gathering, surveillance, tracking. Marcus leans forward. Sometimes fighting the system means becoming a ghost in that system. What do you need from me? Legal cover, subpoenas for financial records, and time. For the first time, Alvarez smiles. I think we can help each other, Mr. Freeman. They form a plan. Marcus will gather intelligence. Alvarez will provide legal framework. Together, they might have enough to bring federal authorities into Oak Ridge. That evening, Marcus visits each remaining holdout. The Wilsons, Lucia Morales, Dr. Chen from the medical clinic, Pastor Williams, whose church sits on valuable corner property. We're not alone anymore, he tells them, careful to sweep for listening devices first. But I need your eyes and ears. Report anything suspicious to this secure number. He gives them each burner phones. Simple instructions. A renewed sense of hope spreads through the small resistance. Back home, Marcus converts his damaged garage into an operations center. Maps, timelines, surveillance photos. His father's evidence forms the foundation. Hayes doesn't just want our properties, Marcus explains to Alvarez when she visits. He needs them. The contamination is spreading underground. If anyone tests their water and traces it back to his family's old chemical storage, his entire empire collapses, she finishes. Marcus points to property records. He's been buying land in the next county over, moving his own assets away from the contamination zone, while leaving everyone else to suffer the consequences, Alvarez says grimly. A pattern emerges. Hayes's shell companies, unusual council votes, police reports altered or buried. The corruption forms a web with Hayes at the center. Marcus receives a text from Officer Rodriguez requesting a meeting. At midnight, the young officer parks 3 blocks away and approaches on foot. My father worked for Freeman Construction, Rodriguez explains, hands shaking. Chief Daniels ordered me to plant that cocaine. Said my father would lose his pension if I refused. Why tell me this now? Marcus asks. Because they're planning something worse. Rodriguez looks over his shoulder. Thompson hired ex-cons from Capital City. Not just for vandalism anymore. I heard him say permanent solutions. Marcus nods calmly, though his mind races. We need your help from inside. Eyes and ears only. Nothing that puts you at risk. After Rodriguez leaves, Marcus calls Alvarez. We need to accelerate our timeline. Hayes is escalating. That night, Marcus accesses his military contacts. Former SEAL team members now working in private intelligence. Satellite imagery requests. Property records searches. Financial investigations that can't be traced back to Oak Ridge. Alvarez secures federal subpoenas under SEAL, citing potential environmental crimes. The net begins to tighten. At dawn, Marcus watches Hayes and Thompson meet behind the construction site. Their conversation grows heated. Thompson gestures angrily toward Marcus's property. Hayes grabs Thompson's arm, speaking forcefully. The predator is feeling pressure, growing desperate, which makes him dangerous. Later that day, Willis approaches Marcus at the local diner, a public place, witnesses all around, a new offer, triple the property value. Final chance, Freeman, Willis says, sliding the contract across the table. Some offers expire permanently. Marcus pushes it back. So do threats. Willis's practiced smile slips. You have no idea what you're up against. Neither do you, Marcus replies. That night, someone cuts power to Marcus's block. Security cameras catch 3 masked figures approaching his house. They retreat when the backup generator kicks in, triggering floodlights. Marcus reviews the footage with Alvarez. Identifies military-style movement patterns. Notes Thompson's distinctive limp in one figure's gait. They're getting sloppy, Marcus says, making mistakes. Or desperate enough not to care anymore, Alvarez counters. An email arrives from Marcus's SEAL contact. Satellite imagery processing complete. Ready for secure download. The evidence is accumulating. The trap nearly set. Marcus just needs time to spring it. They've scheduled the demolition. Lucia Morales bursts into Marcus's temporary office, waving a notice. 3 days. All remaining acquired properties. Marcus examines the document. Official town letterhead. Expedited permits. Safety concerns cited as justification. They can't legally demolish properties they don't own, Alvarez says over the secure line. When has legal stopped Hayes? Marcus responds. His phone buzzes constantly now, information flowing in from his network. The satellite data will take 36 hours to process fully. The bulldozers arrive in 72. The local newspaper editor, Alan Pierce, arrives with a thumb drive. This was anonymously delivered to the paper, he explains. Environmental report. Original version before Hayes had it rewritten. Marcus recognizes his father's digital fingerprints. Backup plans triggered by his death. The report contains one word Hayes never wants public: contamination. That afternoon, Marcus observes Curtis Thompson at Town Hall, pressuring council members to approve accelerated demolition permits. The security chief's right boot leaves a distinctive print on the recently waxed floor. Marcus photographs it discreetly. Same pattern as those at his vandalized home. At sunset, Marcus begins placing wireless cameras throughout town, behind the mayor's office, overlooking Thompson's vehicle, monitoring the construction site perimeter. Every camera he places is another eye watching the watchers. Using Officer Rodriguez's access card, Marcus enters the police station's server room during shift change. 5 minutes to install a backdoor into their system. Digital breadcrumbs leading to Hayes, not the whistleblower officer. Alvarez calls with news. Federal Environmental Protection Team can be here in 4 days. Too late, Marcus replies. We need to slow down the demolition. He activates the next phase that night. Small but strategic disruptions. Construction equipment mysteriously disabled. Permit paperwork misplaced. Council members receiving anonymous evidence of Hayes' environmental cover-up. Hayes responds by doubling security. Armed guards at the construction site. Police patrols past holdout properties. Marcus watches from shadows as Thompson inspects the damaged equipment, rage visible even from a distance. The security chief kicks a generator, further damaging it. A vulnerability. Emotional. Impulsive. Marcus's SEAL network delivers preliminary satellite analysis. Historical images showing waste barrels being buried at the casino site 20 years ago. Thermal imaging suggesting chemical seepage into groundwater. We need soil samples from the actual site, Marcus tells Alvarez. Current ones, legally obtained with chain of custody. That's impossible. It's guarded 24/7. Not impossible, just difficult. Marcus surveys the construction site from a neighboring rooftop, memorizes guard patterns, identifies blind spots in their security camera coverage, plans his approach. The clock ticks louder. Demolition permits approved. Equipment being positioned. Hayes appearing on local news promoting the revitalization initiative while protesters gather outside Town Hall. Marcus sends a coded message to his SEAL contacts. Contingency Alpha. Their response comes within minutes. Assets deploying. The final pieces move into position. Midnight. Marcus moves through Town Hall's shadow, invisible against the brick facade. The security system upgraded after his father's break-in attempt presents minimal challenge to SEAL infiltration techniques. Inside, darkness conceals him. The building breathes empty halls and secrets. His footsteps make no sound on marble floors. The mayor's office sits locked behind frosted glass. Marcus bypasses the alarm in 30 seconds, picks the lock in 20 more. Inside, he places microscopic listening devices beneath the desk, inside the phone, behind picture frames. The office reveals Hayes's character: expensive bourbon, hunting trophies, photos with senators and governors. A man who collects power like others collect stamps. Marcus photographs documents left carelessly visible. Construction timetables. Contact information for private security contractors with military backgrounds. A list of holdout properties with red check marks beside 3 names. All 3. Recent accidents. His father's name, the first checkmark. Down the hall, the zoning office yields more treasures. Marcus finds the original land surveys, compares them to the altered versions. Someone systematically removed all references to chemical contamination. Each document bears the same digital signature: C. Thompson. The floor creaks outside. Marcus freezes. Footsteps approach. A security guard's night patrol. Marcus slides behind a filing cabinet as the beam of a flashlight sweeps across the room. The guard pauses, sensing something amiss. The radio on the guard's belt crackles. Northeast perimeter check? The distraction allows Marcus to slip into the adjacent room. The guard continues his patrol, never realizing how close he came to discovery. In the records room, Marcus photographs tax documents. Hayes's shell companies purchasing surrounding county land through intermediaries. A pattern of ownership creating safe distance from the contamination zone. A figure passes the window: Curtis Thompson, conducting a late-night inspection. Marcus recognizes the security chief's distinctive limp. Thompson walks right past Marcus in the darkened hallway, never recognizing the man whose home he destroyed. The boots, military-grade tactical, size 12. The unusual wear pattern on the right heel matching prints from Marcus's vandalized property. Marcus completes his infiltration, exiting through a maintenance door as the guard returns to the front desk. At 3 a.m., he meets Alvarez at her office. Hayes is accelerating everything, Marcus reports, transferring the photos. Demolition now scheduled in 36 hours. Alvarez reviews the documents. This proves knowledge and intent to conceal, but we need physical evidence of the contamination. Tonight, Marcus says. They drive separately to the construction site. Alvarez parks visibly near the front gate, distracting the guards with questions about permit displays. Legal intimidation that draws security attention. Meanwhile, Marcus approaches from the blind spot he identified, cuts the perimeter fence, enters the site carrying specialized collection equipment. The location matches his father's notes. Former chemical storage area, now marked for casino foundation. Marcus collects soil samples from 3 different depths, labels each precisely, documents the collection with time-stamp photos. A guard's flashlight sweeps nearby. Marcus remains motionless in the shadow of a bulldozer until the patrol passes. Samples secure, he retreats the way he came, reseals the fence cut, leaves no trace of his presence. Alvarez receives the samples in an evidence bag. I'll have these tested by an independent lab in Capital City, results by morning. Dawn reveals the scale of Hayes's operation. Demolition equipment assembled around the holdout properties. Police barricades established. Media invited to cover the community revitalization kickoff. The lab results arrive by encrypted email. The mayor's voice on a recorded call is crystal clear. Make the problem disappear. The soil tests confirm what his father suspected. Enough toxins to poison half the county. Chemical signatures matching Hayes family industrial operations. Concentrations far exceeding legal limits. Marcus forwards everything to his federal contacts, coordinates with Alvarez to establish legal chain of evidence. The case building hour by hour. That afternoon, Hayes holds a press conference announcing demolition will begin at sunrise tomorrow. Progress waits for no one, he declares, cameras flashing. Behind the podium, Thompson watches the crowd with predatory eyes. His gaze finds Marcus standing at the back. Recognition flickers. Confusion follows. Then, realization. Marcus allows himself a small nod, acknowledging the hunter who has become the hunted. Thompson whispers urgently in Hayes's ear. The mayor's confident smile falters for just a moment. The first crack in the facade. Sunset bathes the cemetery in golden light. Marcus kneels at his father's grave, placing fresh flowers against the headstone. "We're close, Dad," he whispers. Hayes is getting nervous, making mistakes. The marble feels cool beneath his fingers as he traces his father's name. For the first time since returning to Oak Ridge, Marcus allows the grief to surface. Tears come silently, released after weeks of focused determination. "I'm sorry I wasn't here when you needed me." Around him, the cemetery stands empty, except for an elderly groundskeeper in the distance. Birds call from ancient oaks, a moment of peace before the final confrontation. At the Wilsons' home, Marcus delivers good news. The other holdouts gather in the living room, hope kindling in tired eyes. "The Federal Environmental Protection Team has the evidence," Marcus explains. "Soil samples, altered documents, Hayes' knowledge of the contamination." "Will it be enough?" Mrs. Wilson asks, her hands steadier now. "Alvarez thinks so. The satellite imagery proves historical dumping at the site. 20 years of chemical seepage into groundwater." Relief spreads across worried faces. The first real possibility that David might defeat Goliath. Later, alone in what remains of his home, Marcus allows himself a rare, vulnerable moment. He opens the family photo album saved from the destruction. Pictures of his parents at the construction company founding. His father teaching him to build his first birdhouse. High school graduation before he left for the Navy. The grief comes in waves. Marcus doesn't fight it this time. Let it flow. Process. Release. Dawn breaks over his father's headstone. By sunset, everything will change. Through the window, Marcus notices an unfamiliar vehicle parked down the street. Dark sedan. Tinted windows. Someone watching his home. Hayes' desperation grows as the walls close in. The most dangerous phase begins. Marcus sends the satellite images to Alvarez's secure server. The evidence proves what they've done. Now he just has to survive long enough to show everyone. He wipes his tears, puts the photo down. Time to finish this. Finish. The final pieces are in place. The trap set. All that remains is to spring it and hope he's calculated correctly. Demolition begins in 2 hours, Officer Rodriguez reports, voice low. Hayes has brought in contractors from outside the county. They don't ask questions. Marcus reviews the surveillance feeds on his laptop. Construction equipment surrounds the holdout properties. Police establish perimeters for public safety. News vans gather for Hayes' triumphant moment. "Has Thompson sent his people for me yet?" Marcus asks. Rodriguez nods. 3-man team, ex-military. They left the construction site 20 minutes ago. Marcus closes the laptop. Everything proceeding according to plan. "Time to disappear," he tells Rodriguez. "Whatever happens next, you weren't involved." The young officer hesitates. "My father worked 30 years for your dad. He always said Henry Freeman was the most honest man in Oak Ridge." "Thank you," Marcus says simply. "Now go." As Rodriguez drives away, Marcus activates the final protocol on his phone. A message to all his SEAL contacts. Execute endgame. 3 blocks away, Alvarez receives the signal. She makes one call to the federal prosecutor's office, then drives to the county courthouse. At the construction site, Mayor Hayes surveys his imminent victory. Cameras capture his confident smile as he outlines the casino's economic benefits. Jackson Willis distributes artist renderings to reporters. Curtis Thompson coordinates security, eyes constantly scanning for threats. "Where's Freeman?" Hayes demands between photo opportunities. "Teams are securing him now," Thompson replies, touching his earpiece. "No word yet." Hayes frowns. "I want him here to watch this. Front row seat." The black SUV approaching Marcus's house carries 3 men with tactical gear beneath civilian clothes. They move with military precision, surrounding the property. The leader signals, front and back simultaneously. They breach the doors with practiced efficiency. Clear each room methodically. Find nothing. No Marcus. No equipment. The house stands empty. "Target not present," the leader reports to Thompson. At that exact moment, Thompson's phone chimes with a text message. An image. Thompson himself, photographed placing the cocaine in Marcus's office. Timestamp. GPS coordinates. Irrefutable. Before Thompson can respond, every digital screen at the construction site, phones, laptops, even the presentation display, receives the same video clip. Hayes discussing how to handle the Freeman problem permanently. The mayor's face drains of color as his own voice plays through the media speakers. "What the hell is this?" Hayes grabs Thompson's arm. "We've been compromised," Thompson hisses, already calculating escape routes. Too late. Federal agents in windbreakers appear at the perimeter. Alvarez stands beside them, warrant in hand. "Robert Hayes," she announces, voice carrying across suddenly silent construction equipment. "You're under federal investigation for environmental crimes, wire fraud, and conspiracy." Cameras swivel from Hayes to Alvarez. The mayor recovers quickly, political instincts kicking in. "This is ridiculous," he laughs for the cameras. "A desperate stunt by property owners trying to block progress." "The evidence suggests otherwise," Alvarez continues, unfolding documents. "We have satellite imagery showing chemical waste dumped at this site, soil samples confirming toxic contamination above legal limits, and documentation proving you knowingly concealed these facts." Hayes maintains his composure, but Willis begins edging toward his vehicle. Thompson's hand moves subtly toward his concealed weapon. "Furthermore," Alvarez continues, "we have evidence linking your administration to acts of vandalism, intimidation, and tampering with federal environmental reports." Thompson makes his decision. He grabs Hayes, using him as shield while drawing his weapon. "Nobody moves," Thompson shouts. "We're leaving now." The crowd scatters. Federal agents draw weapons. Standoff. "Think carefully, Thompson." A calm voice cuts through the chaos. Marcus steps into view from behind a bulldozer, hands empty, posture relaxed but alert. "Your team is already in custody," Marcus continues. "Surveillance has documented every threat, every act of vandalism. Your distinctive boot prints match those at my home and 3 other properties." Thompson's eyes dart frantically. "Hayes ordered everything. The vandalism, the intimidation, Freeman's father—" "Shut up," Hayes hisses. Too late. The shock ripples through the crowd. Reporters lean forward. Cameras focus. "What about Henry Freeman?" Alvarez demands. Thompson sees his only leverage. "Hayes ordered the brake lines cut, said the old man found proof of the chemical contamination, was going to the feds." The mayor's face contorts with rage. "You idiot! He's manipulating you!" One by one, the council members start turning on each other, desperate to cut deals. The police chief suddenly remembers urgent business elsewhere. Willis makes a break for his car, but finds federal agents waiting. Marcus approaches Thompson slowly. "You have military training. You understand tactical reality. This ends one way: surrender now, cooperate, reduce your sentence." Thompson's resolve wavers. His weapon lowers slightly. In that moment, Hayes lunges for the gun. A brief struggle. The weapon discharges skyward. Federal agents swarm both men, bringing them down. As Hayes is handcuffed, he stares at Marcus with pure hatred. "How? How did you do this?" Marcus kneels beside the fallen mayor. "You destroyed my home, threatened my neighbors, killed my father. Did you really think I wouldn't bring every skill I had to ensure justice?" Alvarez approaches with federal agents. "We've received the banking records, multiple shell companies, funds transferred through offshore accounts, the entire financial structure of the casino project." She turns to the federal agent in charge. "This isn't just about property damage anymore. It's about murder. The evidence unfolds layer by layer before cameras and stunned residents. Physical evidence. Land surveys systematically altered to conceal contamination. Soil samples showing chemical levels 20 times legal limits. Satellite imagery tracking the waste from Hayes chemical storage to unmarked burial sites. Audio recordings. Hayes ordering intimidation tactics. Thompson discussing permanent solutions for holdouts. Willis admitting knowledge of the contamination while planning to sell casino ownership before problems emerged. Financial records. Shell companies. Money laundering. Bribes to officials. The entire corrupt enterprise exposed in meticulous detail. Marcus watches as federal agents lead Hayes, Thompson, and Willis to separate vehicles. The mayor's political smile finally crumbles, the predator cornered by his own prey. Alvarez joins Marcus as residents gather around them. "Your father would be proud," she says quietly. "He started this," Marcus replies. "I just finished it." The Wilsons approach, tears streaming down Mrs. Wilson's face. "How can we ever thank you?" "By rebuilding," Marcus says. "All of us together." News cameras capture everything. The corrupt officials in handcuffs, the relieved property owners, the federal environmental team already beginning containment assessment. The story explodes beyond Oak Ridge. Regional news picks it up first. Then national. Small-town corruption exposed. Environmental crime prevented. Justice for Henry Freeman. As evening falls, Marcus stands where it began, his damaged home. The demolition equipment sits abandoned. The holdout properties safe. Federal agents process evidence where casino groundbreaking was scheduled to occur. His phone buzzes with a message from Alvarez. Thompson's full confession obtained. Hayes and Willis negotiating plea deals turning on each other. Chief Daniels suspended pending investigation. Justice moves swiftly when evidence is overwhelming. Marcus looks at the photo of his father one last time before carefully placing it in his pocket. The battle won. The war over. Tomorrow, rebuilding begins. 6 weeks later, Marcus stands before the newly elected town council. The meeting room overflows with Oak Ridge residents. The federal environmental team confirms Hayes chemical storage contaminated groundwater beneath the proposed casino site, Marcus explains, displaying test results on the projection screen. Had construction proceeded, toxic chemicals would have spread throughout the water table. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. The narrow escape finally understood. Furthermore, federal investigators have traced similar contamination to 3 other Hayes family properties. Remediation efforts begin next month. The interim mayor, formerly the high school principal, nods gravely. And the legal proceedings? Hayes, Willis, and Thompson remain in federal custody, Marcus continues. All have been denied bail as flight risks. Conspiracy, fraud, environmental crimes, and, his voice steady now, the murder of Henry Freeman. Applause breaks out. Justice visible and tangible. Alvarez steps forward, now running for district attorney without opposition. 17 officials have been implicated in the corruption investigation. The federal prosecutor expects more arrests as they follow the money trail. Outside the council meeting, Marcus walks with the Wilsons through a neighborhood transformed. Construction crews repair damaged homes. Community gardens replace vacant lots. Hope rebuilds alongside structures. The Freeman Legacy Fund Committee meets tomorrow, Mrs. Wilson says. We've received donations from across the country since the story broke. Marcus nods. The fund, established in his father's name, provides assistance to affected property owners, ensures no one loses their home to predatory development. At Freeman Construction Headquarters, now the command center for rebuilding efforts, Marcus reviews plans with former holdouts. Lucia Morales coordinates volunteer schedules. Dr. Chen assesses environmental health impacts. Pastor Williams organizes community support. The federal grant was approved this morning, Marcus announces. Funds for complete remediation of the contaminated areas, plus infrastructure improvements throughout affected neighborhoods. The community rebuilds stronger than before, more transparent, more vigilant. Marcus visits the cemetery weekly. Today, he's not alone. Alvarez accompanies him, carrying fresh flowers. The federal prosecutor says Hayes will serve minimum 20 years, she reports as they stand at Henry Freeman's grave. Thompson testified against everyone, full cooperation for reduced sentencing. And the contamination cleanup? Marcus asks. The EPA classified it as a priority site. Hayes' family assets seized to fund remediation. Justice takes many forms: environmental, legal, financial, personal. Later that day, Marcus visits the county jail. Hayes stares through the prison glass, still not understanding how thoroughly he was outmaneuvered. "Why come here?" Hayes asks, hollow-eyed, his expensive suit replaced by prison orange, power stripped away. "To make sure you understand," Marcus replies. "This wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. For my father, for this town, for everyone you were willing to poison for profit." Hayes smirks, a shadow of his former arrogance. "You think you've won? One developer stopped. Others will come." "They're welcome to," Marcus replies, "with transparency, environmental responsibility, community input. That's the difference." Outside, Oak Ridge transforms day by day. The construction begins tomorrow, not for a casino, but for homes that can never be taken away again. The town council unanimously approves Marcus's appointment to the new Ethics and Development Committee. His expertise, both in construction and in identifying threats, proves invaluable. At the site where Thompson left the threatening message at Marcus's home, now repaired and expanded community members establish a neighborhood watch program. Never again will intimidation rule their streets. 6 months later, Marcus stands before the reopened Freeman Construction. The company now specializes in environmental remediation and sustainable development. Contracts from neighboring counties flood in, impressed by their work in Oak Ridge. The local newspaper runs a feature, "How One Man's Stand Against Corruption Saved a Town." Marcus keeps a copy but avoids the spotlight. His father deserved the credit. The community's resilience deserved recognition. Officer Rodriguez, now promoted to detective in the reformed police department, visits Freeman Construction with updates. "The FBI discovered Hayes had similar operations in 3 other towns," he reports. "Your evidence sparked investigations across the state." The ripples spread outward, one stand against corruption inspiring others. At the first anniversary of Henry Freeman's death, the town dedicates a new park where the contaminated site once stood. Clean now, safe, a symbol of renewal. Marcus speaks briefly at the ceremony. "My father believed in building things that last, structures with solid foundations, communities with moral courage, a legacy of standing firm against those who would sacrifice others for personal gain." He unveils the small monument. Not elaborate, just honest, like the man it honors. Afterward, Marcus walks with Alvarez through the park. Children play on equipment where toxic soil once lurked. Families picnic where corruption once festered. "The state attorney general called," Alvarez mentions. "They're reviewing similar development projects across 3 counties, looking for the same patterns we exposed here." Marcus nods. Sometimes the most important battles are fought not on foreign soil, but right at home. As they reach the park exit, Marcus pauses at the community garden established at the exact spot where the threatening message was left at his home. The symbolism isn't lost on those who know the story. Intimidation transformed into growth. A young girl offers Marcus a tomato she's just harvested. He accepts with a smile, the simple gesture embodying everything they fought to protect. That evening, Marcus reviews plans for his next project: affordable housing for families displaced by similar development schemes in neighboring towns. His father's company now builds protection against the very predators who once threatened it. The lessons of Oak Ridge spread further each day. Transparent government, environmental responsibility, community vigilance. One man stood against corruption. A town found its conscience. Justice prevailed not through violence, but through truth meticulously revealed. The system, flawed but redeemable, worked as intended when good people refused to look away. Sometimes, that makes all the difference. Did that story of justice and redemption grip you to the core? That's exactly what we do here at Beat Stories, deliver hard-hitting narratives that keep you on the edge until the very last word. Hit that like button if Marcus Freeman's strategic takedown of corruption satisfied your sense of justice. Subscribe now so you never miss our next adrenaline-pumping tale.
Every time someone stands up, speaks out, or refuses to be erased, a new story is born. At Beat Stories, we archive that courage. Subscribe now and help us keep these moments alive, because the more we share them, the harder they are to ignore.